Hello and welcome to CVG's podcast. Coming up in this YouTube special, we talk about YouTubers getting paid off by Microsoft, or did they really? We don't know. I tell a little story about Kojima seeing me pretending I've got a big furry cock. So if you like Metal Gear Solid, you should listen to that. And also whether or not the Wii U is dead. It isn't. So yeah, have a look. If you like the podcast, then subscribe to our YouTube channel, please. Hello and welcome to CVG's podcast, episode 7.
That doesn't sound like me at all.
I literally have no idea how to do this intro, so I was like, just do it sexy. Just make it sexy, that's all. Everybody likes sexy things.
We decided to mix it up,
so it's fine.
Let you do one.
I'm Gav Murphy, video man extraordinaire, and I'm joined by...
Oh, I'm Chris Scullion, games editor, revolutionary.
There you go, done.
Tamoor Hussain, token Asian.
Yeah.
Gav,
you're not token Asian if you're just Asian. You're just the Asian.
Yeah, but I'm the only Asian, probably on this floor. That makes me the token Asian.
Probably in the world.
Probably in the world, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Definitely in my life, anyway. But,
the only, that's his threshold 1.
But it's just 3 of us this week.
Yeah.
How
Gav,
many
I just want to
last
say
time?
that you've shown an impressive commitment to cultivating that beard.
Oh, I know, yeah.
That beard.
Well, I'm training for a half marathon, and I thought I need something fun in my life, so I figured I'm going to grow my beard as long as I can.
But it makes you less aerodynamic when you run if you have a beard. So
That's
it
true.
could make it more difficult.
I wear a hairnet when I run.
On your face?
Yeah, on my
Doesn't that make it
face.
even worse?
No, it's good. It's like one of those like bobsleigh helmet things.
Keeps flies out as well.
You know, like Malcolm in the Middle when he does that power walking thing. That's what I'm wearing. So if you see me running around Regent's Park looking like an absolute dick splash,
Did you see the
it's for a thing, right?
Jamaican bobsleigh team? The story about them trying to raise funds to
Yeah, they're
get
in.
into. Are they in?
Yeah, they're in.
Oh, that's amazing. People raised they started submitting Doge coins.
Really?
Yeah, that fake currency, and it came to like $36,000. Yeah. People are using that stuff, getting them in there. So yeah, we can expect another one of those.
That's the thing. Like some of this stuff is good, and like I like the sort of Bitcoin idea. After somebody explained it to me, but the Doge thing, that just seems mental. Because didn't people go, "Oh, this is so funny. Yeah, I'm gonna change all my money into these Doge coins," and then like some hackers just like, "These guys are fucking idiots. I'm gonna take all his money." Didn't so someone stole a shitload of it then?
I didn't see the stealing thing, but definitely the scope for someone to steal all that shit is
completely
definitely
lost.
there.
Is there another new currency that isn't Bitcoin?
Dogecoins.
Dogecoins.
You know, like wow.
Yeah, I know
Kanye
there's
West.
the meme. What's it?
Yeah, Kanye West is quite good.
Yeah.
Kanye West started his own religion, or someone started it around him. Did you see that? It's called like Yeezianity or something like that.
Sweet. That's good.
It's amazing.
I tell you what, just spend your own money. Just spend your own cash in your own shops. Like, if you are a kind of person who needs to have a dog in control of your money, then I think you've got bigger problems in your life, to be honest.
Some would say that rather than dogs, we've got fat cats controlling our money at the moment, Gavi. That's satire.
What have we got going on this week?
To be honest, there's not a lot happening this week. It's still like
Everyone's skint, isn't it?
Everyone's skint.
Even developers.
Yeah, every developers are like, we got no money to do anything. We got no money to make games, buy games, publish games. Anything.
Tomb Raider's out, isn't it?
Tomb Raider's out, I think, this week. Yeah, but otherwise, in the actual release world, nothing's happening. We've got Oli came out this week.
Yeah, that's a Vita.
Yeah, that's a Vita game. Side scrolling, kind of like an endless runner.
Yeah.
But it's like one life, and you try and do as many tricks as you can.
Yeah.
The guy who played it for us, one Robert of Crossley, he's due to his poor time management skills, is currently on a deadline.
Yeah.
And he was just like, "No, can't come, guys. I'm doing work."
He's off doing real journalism, is what he calls it.
Yeah.
When I walked past, he was just tweeting Kotaku or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Don't worry about that.
He's trying to talk to like Gabe New or something on
exactly,
Twitter. He's like, "Gabe, please acknowledge my existence."
Pathetic.
Loser.
But Oli, like I interviewed the developer for it, the guy making it, or one of the guys making it last year, just before they were about to send the final build. And like that was the week that I helped out on an indie week for PlayStation. I was doing a bit of filming for PlayStation Access, which has now gone to Yogscast instead of Future. Doesn't matter.
Whatever.
Still good guys. But I helped out on an indie week and sort of spoke to a load of indie developers who were like specifically making games for like PS4, PS3, but mostly Vita. And that was like the sort of day that I decided that I was definitely going to get a Vita because just I don't know, man. Like it seems like that's some really exciting games coming out on there, and Ollie Ollie was one of them.
What have you played so far, Vita? What have your experiences been like with the Vita?
I have played so Tearaway. I got the Tearaway bundle.
Right.
And I played through that, which I really loved, and like everything Media Molecule make, I absolutely bum. But I did find with Tearaway, I wasn't as enamored with. Like the first time I put Little Big Planet on, I was like, holy shit, I've never seen anything like this before. I've never felt like this before playing a game for a while since I was a kid, and I just felt it was just something like really new, and I was expecting to have that exact same feeling with Tearaway. And I think the reason for it as well is a lot of the time the world feels a lot more bare. And I think a lot of that is to do with the music as well, because like Little Big Planet, like for me, we had all those licensed tracks and a really, really cool soundtrack. Like not only was it just cool music, but it seemed like they really spent a long time picking tracks that sort of, should be
expanded
in that
your
world.
musical horizon.
Exactly.
There was tracks on there that I was like, I'm going to look into this artist.
Yeah, completely.
And
but there was also like stuff like Battles, which like Atlas is on there, which I love that. I love that song. So every time it came on, I was like, yeah, this is awesome. But at the same time, there were other tracks where I was like, oh, they must have had this made themselves. They must have made this themselves. And I looked and go, no, this is just a band. They've just picked perfect music for it.
Yeah.
But with Tearaway, I find. I don't find I'm getting that. I feel because they've made their own music for the world, and I feel like they really are missing like having licensed tracks in it. And I don't know, it's a really really good game, and I do love it. But
I haven't played it. I've reached a point with the Vita where I don't buy games because I just assume they're going to be on PlayStation Plus.
That's the thing,
and
man.
it's the same with especially first party games, which Tearaway is. So I haven't played the game, but everything I hear about it is always, it sounds so appealing. Like you can explain it better, but you can put your own face in there and stuff like that, and it's charming.
If you're somebody who enjoys drawing cocks,
which you are,
that's what I heard.
You need to get that game.
Draw dicks on things.
But yeah, at the same time, but then that when as soon as you stop doing that, as soon as you just go right, okay, there's only so many dicks I can have in this world.
You've already drawn tits.
Yeah, exactly. You've drawn dicks, you've drawn tits, all the big creative things. After a while, then you start to go, okay, right, this isn't funny anymore. I mean, I'm 28 years old. Drawing cocks will always be funny.
Do you draw the veins as well?
Oh, mate, yeah. Like it's really hard because you have to when you draw, you can't just draw on stuff. You've got to draw around paper, and it's all paper craft stuff.
Especially when you're tracing it.
Exactly. Yeah. But.
I drew butts as well.
Yeah, I drew butts. Obviously. Oh, fuck, what was I going to
Once you realise that
it's actually once you realise that you should be, but once you realize like you can actually contribute to the world in a really good way, like when a squirrel comes along and says, can you make me a hat, then I don't know, you feel way more part of the game and you feel more invested in the game if you go, do you know what, instead of giving him a cock to wear, I'm gonna make him a really really good hat.
I couldn't do that. I just feel like, okay, squirrel, I hope you like dick hats.
There's a bit where you draw snowflakes, so it's like every time you go back to this world it's just raining cocks and this thing. But you just think like, I don't know,
when you make this hat for a squirrel, do they grade how good your hat is?
No, that would have been
amazing.
Because no matter what you do, they sort of react in the same way. Because I mean, how can they? They're
He's
not
happy
gonna be
with
able
the
to
drill hat on it.
It reminds me about, if you remember Drawn to Life on Wii, is it similar to that kind of thing, only with paper craft? Because in Drawn to Life, you had to like it's like a platformer, but as you went through it, you had to draw the hero, and then you had to draw the scenery and draw the trees and everything, and the world would eventually become hand drawn by you. Is it a similar idea, or is it totally different?
It's similar, but I'm only about 6% through it. Right. And the one thing that I haven't found is bits that I've done earlier, like sort of being repeated later on. Like I drew a hat for a squirrel. I haven't seen that squirrel ever again.
Yeah.
And I would like to see a little bit more of that repeated sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it's a generally like really really good game. But sometimes I just feel like the world is a tiny bit empty, and a lot of that I think is to do with the music.
It's so strange that they created their first game, Little Big Planet, was just so interconnected. Like you could see other people's levels and share it and rate it. It would have been good for them to use some of that in this. Like even if you can't have this kind of granularity in how people perceive and judge your creations, it would have been cool if you could like just have like, if I went to your friends, you and my friends list, and saw all the creations you made and saw, oh, this is the hat he made for that squirrel, that one's cool, I'll give it a 5 stars.
That'll be awesome.
Like that.
You should definitely be able to do that.
Media Molecule,
that's a good point.
Give me a job.
The other stuff I've been playing is the stuff that Future Labs have done, like
Velocity Ultra.
and I met with them and interviewed them. Velocity Ultra, that's it, yeah. And I don't know, I'm really excited about stuff. Like I quite like Velocity Ultra, and I thought it was really good. But I'm really excited about like anything else they do because I think it's gonna be awesome.
They've sold you on their passion.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what a lot of developers are selling the Vita on. Their passion for it, as opposed to the actual games that they're creating.
Well, Velocity Ultra is awesome.
Yeah, no, Velocity Ultra is great, but like you said, you're more excited about what they're gonna do next. And
well, that's the thing. Like, if you look at someone like the Joe Danger studio, like they made like Joe Danger, which is generally an amazing game. It stands up. Then you look at what they're making now, what they're about to make, and you just say, shit.
That game, No Man's Sky, it looks awesome, but at the same time, the way they've sold it, like people are on board.
People are mental for
they
it.
They released the Endless Runner, Joe Danger on iOS, and if you go to the comments and the reviews in that, most of the comments are, "I'm buying this to fund No Man's Sky."
No way.
People aren't buying it to play it. They're like, "I don't know how the game is, but I'm buying this to fund No Man's Sky."
That's cool.
I'm just terrified.
amazing.
I don't want to get too excited because I'm terrified it's just not going to live up to the hype. Because I don't doubt that it's. I'm not trying to be cynical and say that it might not, but as much as I love Joe Danger, that's a hell of a leap from Joe Danger to fucking a universe.
But don't you think that's exciting though?
It's really exciting if it pays off. I'm terrified that it won't.
The thing that I feel good about is like they made Joe Danger, but then they iterated on that for ages and ages and ages and ages. So the time that they've spent making additional Joe Danger games could have been spent, creating this massive world as well.
How do we know that's not what they've been doing?
Yeah, exactly. Because Joe's at a certain point, those Joe Danger games, I was like, all right, that's enough. Like you had this one game. It was worrying because I remember going to see them before Joe Danger came out. I played it at a prototype stage, and I was like, wow, these guys could be massive. And I thought at the same time, or there could be a one-hit wonder studio, which is worrying. You get some studios that make this one game, and they go on and on and on and on about it, and constantly talking about it. I know some developers that I'm not going to say,
Rovio.
but like, no. Yeah, exactly. This is Rovio, Angry Birds all day long.
Yeah.
But like, this is good because it shows that, they can branch out, and it's exciting. So yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, like, I don't know, the reason that I got a Vita and the reason that I got so excited about it was meeting all these developers, like largely British, like some Europeans, but like it seems like there's so much amazing talent at the moment. Like Curve Studios as well. Like people really getting behind the Vita, and I think like everything the Curve Studios have ever done or ported has just been brilliant.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's awesome to have these like developers and these studios within spitting distance like of London and just around in Brighton and stuff like that, who like I don't know seem to really have a passion for making the Vita, and like they're sort of a little tiny bit infectious, and you get really excited about the stuff that they're making.
What else have you been playing on the Vita? Because you're quite fresh with it, aren't
Yeah,
you?
exactly. Guacamelee.
That's an awesome game,
really,
isn't it?
really good.
That is a really good. They re-released it recently for PS3 and Vita, and it's got some extra levels and content, and it's cross-buy. So if you haven't played it, it's like £12. Wholly worth it.
Yeah, crossplay. This is the thing as well.
Amazing,
like,
isn't it?
And like a friend of mine who works at Sony, like she was saying, like, oh, just make sure, because I didn't have a Vita until very late, but she said, like, make sure you're downloading the games for Vita from your PS3, because then as soon as you get your Vita, you're just going to have this entire library of games. I'm so glad I did that.
Yeah.
But like also like crossplay stuff is just brilliant to the point now where, I mean, I've only had a Vita like since Christmas. I had it on Christmas Day. Like it was awesome. Oh, like because I asked like my mum and my sister for it, and they bought it for me as like a. I didn't really ask them for it. I just sort of mentioned it, and then they bought it for me. So it was on Christmas Day. I like felt like the fucking Nintendo 64 kid going, "What the fuck?" Like, my mum was like, "Don't you work in video games? Like, why are you so excited about this?" But just. I've only had it like I was not even a month yet, but I've now become like someone who like turns their nose up like Telltale and stuff like that. I was like, you mean my Wolf Among Us isn't cross-playing and I have to buy it? What the fudge? Shut the front door. What the fuck? Like,
I'd love to play Wolf Among Us on Vita.
Yeah.
Is that coming out?
It must be, yeah.
Yeah,
I think it is.
I think so.
Yeah. But but apparently when Walking Dead came out, it wasn't crossplay. But then there's stuff like, I mean, I'm just like that's the thing. I'm playing Tearaway and I'm playing these new games. I tried playing Uncharted, but that's got this.
Couldn't get into that at all.
That's got the old classic like it's the first game out for the thing. Yeah. Let's use every single thing the Vita can do in this game. And like some bits I was like, okay, this is quite cool. Like where it's like, oh, you can draw a line over where like Drake can run and he'll just climb it. But then it's just like I drew this massive line on the screen and then he climbed up for about 30 seconds. I was just like just sitting there just looking out the window, just like, all right, let me know when you need something, dude. Just go kill that dude. And it was like it's like playing games with Siri. Siri, get the end of the level for me, please. All right, sweet, that's good. But yeah, no, so I wanted to play that a little bit more. I thought that was really good. But yeah, Tearaway, but Hotline Miami. This is like my 4th playthrough of Hotline Miami now. And
you must be dying for the second one.
Yeah, because I mean, I absolutely love Hotline Miami. I think it's just an amazing game. Nothing has like matched that sort of atmosphere and music and just like complete package for me in like so long. Like, and I just absolutely love it.
It's all about Spelunky for me just now. When we did the Game of the Generation podcast, Spelunky was one of the ones we mentioned, and at the time, if anyone listens back to it, I just couldn't get it at all because I'd barely played it, and I just thought, what's the point? Why is everyone excited about it? And I get it now. I still wouldn't necessarily say it was one of the games of the generation, but it is a nice wee time waster when you're on the tube.
I don't get it at all. Like I've played it a few times, done a few of the dungeons, and it's just
you play with people.
Play on my own. Is it a co-op?
Play with people, man.
It's just an HD version of Digger T Rock and NES.
I didn't know it was co-op.
It is, yeah. Wait, is it? No, it definitely is. Yeah.
So yeah. Because you could.
I didn't know that. I played it on Vita. I'm playing on Vita, and it's just every now and then I'm just.
I played on 360. I haven't played it on Vita.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's right. Because OXM did 4-player videos.
Yeah, exactly. And it's super good. Really good fun, man.
Maybe I should look at it in that.
Yeah, maybe you should.
The other interesting thing about crossplay is that it's now continued over to PS4 as well. So when I got a PS4 and switched it on, it was like, all right, well done. Now you've also got Flower and you've also got Sound Shapes, which is fucking amazing. And you've also got Escape Plan. There, like on PS4 with trophies to get and all that kind of stuff. Like
I have the PS4, so
see,
that's a shame.
That's the next step.
That is the next step.
When's Ground Zeroes coming out? I'll buy one then.
March. I didn't know you're a Metal Gear fan.
Huge Metal Gear fan.
Really?
Yeah.
Here we go. Nerd off.
And then when I saw the images that Kojima put up the other day of
the 4.
Playing on the thing,
yeah.
Really
I couldn't give a quarter of a shit about Ground Zeroes.
We're not going to go into this again.
Yeah, man. Have I ever told you my Kojima story?
No, what's your Kojima story?
It's pretty good.
Go on.
So we interviewed him for a PlayStation thing back when Revengeance came out. So it must have been. This is probably about a year ago. Actually.
Yeah. I interviewed him for the same thing.
Yeah. So you were doing that thing. You were doing the roundtable later on in the day, weren't you?
Yeah. You did it with Dan Dawkins, didn't you?
No, I did it. Okay. I did it for PlayStation Access.
Right.
We still had that. But it was one of those things where Nathan Diam, who is like the overlord of PlayStation Access, called me up and said, "Oh, hey man, can you help out with the shoot?" And I was like, "Oh, not really. I'm pretty busy." And he was like, "Oh, all you'd be doing is like holding a boom mic." And I was like, "Nathan, please, I'm a video producer. My boom holding mics days are behind me, sir." But he said he is like, "Oh, it's okay. It's just for this Kojima interview." I was like, "It's for what now?" He's like, "Yeah, we're just interviewing Kojima, hotel. Got like, I think we had like a half hour with him or something like that. He'd just be holding a boom mic." I was like, "Yeah, fine, I'll do whatever you want. I'll make him tea." That's like, "Yeah, I'll do it. That's fine." Yeah. So we went in and we were his first interview of the day. So there's just, and we had this giant boom mic, like stupidly big, like probably about as big as my thighs. They're pretty big. So it was just.
I can confirm they're quite big.
Yeah, exactly. My thighs are probably about the size of an 18-month-old baby, I reckon. And that's how big this boom mic was, just for scale. And he was late coming down, so we were just there. And obviously, you've got a giant, furry, thick, round
18-month baby
cylinder.
Yes, I do.
You know, what do you do with it? Pretend it's your cock. So I put it in between my legs and pretended like I had a big furry cock in between my thighs and pretended to slap it. Everyone around thought it was brilliant, obviously, because shit like that is hilarious. And as I was doing this, Kojima and his people walked in and sort of caught the tail end of the hilarity. So they just saw me like sort of Happy Gilmore in thing, pretending like this is my giant cock. And he saw it, and he saw it. I thought, "You absolute fucking idiots. Like someone who I've been waiting to meet since I started in this industry, probably about like 4 years ago. And then he saw me pretending that this boom mic was a cock. But he came over and he was like, oh, like took a picture of it, took a picture of the thing. Then he put it in between. He didn't put it in between his own legs and pretend it was a cock, but he put it in between his own legs and took a picture. And he's got like this amazing camera that basically uploads straight to Twitter and stuff, and you can tweet from the camera. And he tweeted a picture of the boom mic that I was holding of it. And yeah, I like to think
that's a good story.
Yeah, he laughed, and I thought it was pretty funny. Like, but he laughed like he never. I've told this on another podcast, but he laughed as like. It was the first time that anyone had ever pretended that a long phallic-shaped thing was a cock. Like, and I just love to think that that was the first time he saw something like that. And he went back to Japan and started doing it. He was like, as soon as he left, he was like, you need to fucking go buy me one of them booms to take back. And he's
going to end up being a 4-hour cutscene in Ground Zero.
It's going to be a scene of Snake just riding this fake boom mic.
Yeah, well, that's what, like, I think Log on OXM said, because I was with him on the podcast, said, like, in Ground Zeroes, it's just going to be like two just guys standing, like, pretending to have like a broom in between his leg and be like, oh yeah, look at this cock. Like, I'd like to think that he went back to Japan and was like, guys, got this amazing joke.
You're going to get a call from him one day in the future and he's going to be like, look, we got this bit in Ground Zeroes where Snake rides a horse, but his riding isn't as entertaining as it could be.
It's not working.
We need you to mocap something for us.
We're going to fly you over. Bring your boom, obviously.
You're just going to see like the actual figure of Snake on screen change, like get shorter and slightly wider.
Yeah.
It's just going to gap.
I can just imagine him running back to Japan really excited and kicking the door down and saying, guys, fucking tear 40 pages out of that script.
I know a man in London, genius, comedic genius.
Yeah, exactly. But that's my Kojima story.
First time I met Kojima was I think it was Metal Gear Solid 3 when that was coming out. I wasn't in the industry, like working in the industry. I was working in retail. I worked at a game at the time, and he came to an HMV event, like a launch event, and I went to that like 6 o'clock in the morning. I lined up for about 8 hours to get to the front of the queue and meet him. And I saw him. He's like, "All right." I took a picture with him, and the thing was that you weren't allowed to take a picture with him.
Yeah.
Because there were security guards, so like what happened was my mate was behind me, and I go to him, look, I'm going to take a picture, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Just take it quick. So I leaned over for a picture, and he was like, yeah, cool. Security guard tackled me.
Sweet.
Straight away. I got the signed, cover for it, and then just left.
Yeah.
That was it.
That's the thing, like, because I took my copy of 4 in to get signed after the interview, and like, it's sort of unprofessional to do that, but I thought, this dude's a hero of mine, man. Like, I'm going to do it. And the only other time he was there in London, like around the same time as me, it was when like Uniqlo were doing like the t-shirts, and it was the thing where it was like, yeah, you can come have something signed, but you can come and have a t-shirt signed. Like, he won't be signing games. He won't be signing any of that.
Those t-shirts are quite tasteful as well, though.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't want him to sign the t-shirt.
See, since then,
I want him to sign my game. And this is the thing, like, and on the tour that he was doing was Revengeance. He was only signing Revengeance as well. Like, I don't know if it's
really? No. He signed my Metal Gear Solid 1 on that tour.
Yeah, but did you go as like a press thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, like, I took my 4 and I said to the PR dude, I was like, oh, can I get my copy of 4 signed? And he was like, oh, he's not really signing that. As soon as I pretended like I had a big furry dick, he was like, give me that game.
Give me that game.
I'll sign that and your dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've met him enough times since to have my entire series signed now. Each time I do it.
I've obviously never met him, because I've never had any embarrassing. I met Miyamoto once and I interviewed him and told him a really bad joke, and he was pissing himself at it, like, and like beyond like any realm of like understanding how this joke. He was talking about how.
What was the joke?
It was. I've said this before. That it was a Wii U interview, and I got to interview him for an hour. But the fucking rule was that he wanted to talk about Wii U mainly. So it's like I had all these questions.
Chris was like Wii Poo, and he just shot himself.
Not Wii U, sorry, Wii Music.
Wii Music.
Yeah, sorry. And so I had all these questions, but it was like, no, we need to talk about Wii Music. I was like, for fuck's sake, it's for an hour. So like, it eventually got to the point where I was just trying to crack some jokes, because I was just getting so bored talking about Wii Music when I wanted to talk about Donkey Kong and Mario and Zelda and everything. So he was talking about how Wii Music, I love Wii Music to be the start of a bunch of kind of educational things, like about more. I love doing all the fantasy stuff like Mario and Zelda, but I'd also like to do games based on stuff that happen in real life that real people can relate to. That's why music is. I said, also, what's next? We stock exchange, and he went, oh! I was like, and you look at like the last week or two, I was like, you're not fucking laughing now. It's like maybe if you'd made we stock exchange, then
another signing thing. This one was my worst one because I went there and I was going to meet Yoshinori Ono, who has done Street Fighter 4, and I'm a massive Street Fighter 4 fan. So
I gave me something to sign for you when I interviewed him.
This was the second time. This is because the first time was such a massive failure. Yeah. I went to meet him. It was him and Harada, and I just got that Street Fighter signed, which Harada doesn't give a shit. I saw him again later, and he signed my Tekken. But like, what happened was I came up and I gave him I took the sleeve out so he could sign onto the cover, and I gave it to him with a black pen. And being the fruity dude he is, you know how he is. He's like all pantomime. Like, no, he was like, black pen, fuck this. He threw the black pen away and pulled out a gold pen. And I was like, that's pretty cool. That's cool. And he signed it and put it back in the sleeve thing. Didn't realize until I got home, but the gold pen, it's not ink. It's like this weird like liquid thing. So I took my Street Fighter out. It was just a massive gold smear over the front. I was like, fucking, oh no, ruined my Street Fighter.
That's good.
But I went back. Then I gave you my copy, another copy, and you got it signed for me.
That's right. I'd done the business. I did it.
Good job.
I had to pretend I had a big cock of that as well.
I don't have many signed. I've only ever done that twice, like finished an interview and asked him to sign. I got Miyamoto signed Super Mario World for me. And I got Suda 51 to sign Michigan, because that's one of my cult favourite games that he did. And that's it.
No, mine's just Metal Gear and Street Fighter. I don't think I have anything else. No. Nothing that I've asked for anyway. Sometimes you get sent this thing. It's like, here's 700 Resident Evil 5 posters, all I've signed. And there's just a stack of them in our office right now.
I've got a One Direction poster signed by Junichi Masuda. I have no idea why.
That's weird when you consider that when Pokemon, was it Black and White? When Pokemon Black and White launched, and Nintendo did a launch party for it, and the guests were One Direction. This was just after they'd not won X Factor, and no one gave a shit about them. And there was like Pokemon dancing. And me with my camera, I took video of 3 Pokemon dancing while One Direction were like right next to me, and like and me like an idiot thought this would be the one that'll get me all the hits on YouTube, and like years later.
Wasn't there a story about Ryan King taking something like, I think he got Kurt Angle's signature, but he got him to sign.
That's right. That Ryan King, he's the editor now Gamer.
He's
now,
currently the editor of. No, he was he at now? Is he at Now?
He's
Gamer?
Now Gamer now.
Yeah.
But
he used to be at official Xbox. What was it?
And he Kurt Angle was there promoting a TNA game or something like that. Former WWE superstar Kurt Angle. And Ryan went there and asked him to sign. He's going to sign something. He's like, yeah. And he gave him his copy of Stranglehold, John Woo Xbox game for absolutely no reason. And he signed it, Kurt Angle. So, totally.
Right.
So
there's not a lot going on in news terms. I mean, we've just basically talked at length about how much we love PlayStation. And now we're going to seem like mega Sony fanboys by talking about this one story that recently broke, which is apparently a very weird story. Whether it's true or not, it's still yet to be proven, but it's an interesting talking point for us.
Yeah, I mean, so the gist of it is that was it someone on Machinima tweeted saying, "Hey guys, if you want to make some extra money to YouTubers, Microsoft are giving $3 per 1,000 views. $3 per 1,000 views for anyone making sort of favorable video about the Xbox One." And I mean, so basically all you had to do is tag your videos with a specific tag, and then I guess every 1,000 views, if Microsoft deemed them worthy, they would give you $3 extra or something like that.
As long as they included 30 seconds of Xbox One game footage and mention Xbox One by name and include that tag.
In a favorable way though? Or
it needs to be.
That's where it becomes, because I mean that policy alone isn't something that's totally alien and totally foreign. That has been, and agreements like that have happened in the past, but the condition in the past has been, it's kind of the ethical thing to do is say, by the way, this is a promotional thing. So and so is giving me this. The actual conditions of this deal is that you don't get your money unless you your video doesn't say anything negative at any point about Machinima or
So
Xbox,
according to
and you can't tell anyone.
Yeah.
Right.
that
According
that,
to a leaked copy of the legal agreement, participants may not say anything negative or disparaging about Machinima, Xbox One, or any of its game. That's the thing. So essentially,
All right. So it wasn't actually like a.
it's not. You need to say good things. It's can't
But
say
also,
bad
it's
things.
not. So is it anyone on the Machinima network, not everyone on YouTube?
It just says Machinima.
So it must be like someone on the Machinima network.
I think it's
rather
it might be
than
Machinima
actually
partners,
worldwide.
yeah.
yeah, but the Machinima. But am I right in thinking that anyone who does YouTube videos can sign up for the
Yeah,
Machinima
the Machinima
network?
Yeah,
thing.
but you have to be accepted onto it though.
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
to be accepted as part of the
But-
network.
Yeah.
But that, but
I
that,
mean,
that
a lot
makes,
of the biggest YouTubers are.
Okay, right.
And the
Yeah.
problem arises when you consider that, I mean, the current generation or even, you know, the up and coming generation
Yeah.
of gamers and people who pay attention to games and media consider these people as actual truth telling journalists. And that's where it arises. Because
Yeah.
if you're just random gamer and you get this Machinima tag and you're a big YouTuber and they're signing stuff like this, you run into a problem straight away. Like,
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I
See,
mean,
the
this is sort of thing that magazines and people who work for stuff like CVG, YouTube channel
Yeah.
and stuff like that as well. Like, if you read magazines all the time, like Shortlist is a really good one for this. Like, Shortlist is paid for on the basis of advertisements, as are a lot of magazines. But if something's paid for advertorial, you're bound by law to write advertorial on the top.
That's
so
that's
that
the
people know.
that's the dodgy thing for me. It's not the fact that people are getting paid to say
Yeah.
Xbox is great, because that happens.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the fact. It's the fact that I think it says it here as well. Part of the actual
Yeah.
part of the actual legal agreement says they must keep the agreement confidential.
Yeah.
So if you at any point
Yeah,
say,
it's bad.
if you at any point say, by the way, this is a deal that I've agreed to, you don't get your money. So you only get your money if you say Xbox One is great, and don't say, by the way, I've been told to say this.
Yeah, I
Which
mean,
is-
the
which
dodgy
is
thing
totally
is
outrageous.
is obviously like people making tweets and things and making videos, but not disclosing that it's it's paid for paid for tweets. I mean, we had like a funny thing in the office where it was like the PlayStation 4 launch day.
Yeah.
It was PlayStation 4 launch day, and it was quite clear that someone, either Sony or their marketing companies, had paid well, it looked like certainly certain footballers and sort of D-list celebrities
that's right.
tweeting very favorably about PlayStation 4, either to get a console, but the tweets were really strange in the sense of it seemed like it was like a PR thing, and they were just like, guys, like it's just like
yeah,
like
they're all
Carlton
using
Cole
the suspicious hashtag as well. They're all using the same hashtag. And
all using the same hashtag, and all like in the sort of like, hey guys, did you know that you could? And it's just like, what? Why would you write like that? One, if you look at this, particular footballers or those guys, other tweets, like the ones that they were doing about PlayStation 4 were like perfectly spelled, whereas a lot of the other tweets weren't. And you could, if you looked at a wall of their tweets, this one stuck out like a sore thumb. But at no point did they say, "Hey guys, Sony have paid me some money." Like there's a hashtag that you have to use. I remember going to the Call of Duty multiplayer reveal last year, and the USA are all over this. Like it was like, okay, if at any point you tweet from this event about this event, you have to be using this hashtag, which was like this advert sort of one, which we would like. All the British guys were just like, what? Like we hadn't heard of this. Whereas like a lot of the American journalists were just like, oh right, yeah, you know exactly what that is.
Yeah.
Like
the thing that concerns me most about it is it's the celebrity thing. Celebrities doing it is obviously wrong, but it's something that people are slowly cottoning on to and realising that this is sort of not a lot of celebrities are actually in charge of their own Twitter accounts, and there's a lot of deals done and all this, people promoting headphones and all this kind of free swag they get. But the fact is that a lot of gamers have this opinion that because these YouTubers are normal people and not journalists, they're honest people and they're giving their own opinions.
No.
And because there's still this really annoying insinuation that games journalists are corrupt and don't and can't give their own honest opinion, whereas these YouTubers are just your common Joe on the street. Everything they say is totally their own opinion and hasn't been influenced in any way. So the fact that I mean, if we do something saying Xbox One is great and it's an advert, we have to clearly mark this as an advert by this is promotional, whereas at the moment, in this situation they're not. And
we see this every day and as someone who, I haven't been doing this very long, but like I remember being on the outside and how it was. It's just so strange to be working here and then seeing like messages telling someone, like specifically to me it happened, but you see it on the website saying you guys are corrupt, you guys are bad at what you're doing, you need to be more like Boogie2, who I like a lot, watch all his videos, or like, you know, PewDiePie or random YouTubers. And it's like, well, if you actually stop to think about it, the people who are working within the current like infrastructure, they're bound by a code of ethics, like traditional journalistic code of ethics, whereas there is no such thing for a YouTuber. They don't have to tell you anything, and people are currently exploiting that in a big way. Like this is the thing with the Machinima thing and the YouTube positive Xbox Ones. They can exploit that, and no one can say otherwise. There's no rules or regulations that say that they need to do that. I mean, the Boogie thing. A while back, he went to around the PlayStation launch. Sony flew him and his wife out to New York. He'd never been to New York before. They flew him and his wife out as a wedding kind of gift thing. And they in his hotel room, they put a PlayStation with all the games, all the accessories that were out at the time, and like a note saying this is from, you know, the execs and that kind of thing. Now, Boogie's a nice guy. I like him. I watch his videos. He seems quite genuine. But the first video he did was nothing but praise about the console. He had clearly showing that he had not opened it. He had not played it. He was just like, oh, this is brilliant. Sony are the greatest. Sony are the best. That. And it's like, we couldn't do that. We were not allowed to be doing that. Like, we would feel bad about doing that.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing, isn't it? Like, it's a massive grey area, and like, you know, some people are worse than others, and you know, I'm sure that people would say that, you know, flying us out to, you know, like flying me out to LA to play Call of Duty for 5 days is sort of a similar thing. But you know, I guess we do like different work and stuff like that, and like if I go out on a trip, I have to do work 5 different people and stuff like that, like but I guess it's a similar thing. I remember like a couple of years back, like a bunch of bloggers were flown out to like Vegas for Duke Nukem, and like, you know, they were in Vegas for like 5 days and, you know, treated well. Then all their previews on Duke Nukem, you could see were pretty good, but it's just like you're taking, you know, quite young people out, taking them to Vegas. Some of these people probably never flown.
They're very impressionable.
Like, but yeah, they are quite impressionable, and you're playing them with amazing stuff for a week. It's definitely going to affect you. But then, is it going to affect them any more than it's going to affect like me?
I mean, and like, you're starting to see it more and more where YouTubers are getting invited to get basically the scoops on stuff. And I'm not trying to speak as a bitter journalist who isn't getting these, but like you look at something like when FIFA 14 was coming to Xbox One. And the Legends are available on that. EA invited a bunch of YouTubers to come to their headquarters with their own capturing laptops and all that, to capture new footage of the Legends and all that, so they could put them on their YouTube channels and all that. Meanwhile, we're sitting there saying, you haven't even fucking seen the Xbox One version yet.
But at the same time,
at the same time, I realise why they're doing it, because if you want to get your game seen in the best possible light, then you get the fans of the game to be the ones to break it. I totally understand that.
I've got absolutely no problem with that.
Yeah, but it's just it's slightly, I don't know, it's a shift in.
I guess so, but then at the same time, like if I'm someone who works for a company and I think, okay, I want to get, you know, because these people have got huge, like massive fan bases, like more than any of us would have. So I can understand then, like from a PR point of view, you're just like, well, I want the most people possible to see this game, and I want to reach the most amount of people possible. But then, at the same time, like, I don't know, I guess inviting like huge fans of Call of Duty out to see a Call of Duty game, that's a no-brainer, really. Like, you know, because like, journalists are fucking moany bastards. And you, like, if you invite somebody out, it'd be like, who's been to see, you know, the Call of Duty multiplayer reveal, you know, 6 years in a row, then they're not going to be as excited about it as someone who's gone out and seen it, you know, with fresh eyes and stuff like that. We're going into things thinking, oh, great, Call of Duty again. Where someone who really, really loves Call of Duty is going to see something. And I don't know, is that more favourable than a journalist who's moaning about it?
Yeah, from a PR perspective, it works. But if you're the person who's if you're the person who's just sitting there and wants to know about the game,
you're only getting one side of the story.
You're getting a very, very coloured story. If you send the fan's not going to be like, this was shit.
Yeah.
The chances are they're not going to be like, this was shit.
But then at the same time, like, people really like Call of Duty. So like,
if
they send someone out who's going to be like, oh, I'm not, you know, there's an argument that, okay, the game's not for you, dude. The game is for, we make Call of Duty for the people who are playing it constantly every day, for the professional gamers, for the people who are in clans, the people who buy an Xbox just to play Call of Duty, or buy an Xbox.
From our side, it's about picking the right person to do the job.
Exactly. Yeah.
Having said that, there is a kind of a area in the middle as well between the people that love the game and the people who hate the game, and it's those people that like if I say Konami was doing it with PES, not that they are, but if Konami suddenly say, right, we're doing a Pro Evo thing, and I mean, FIFA's my game. I'll say I'll prefer FIFA to PES at this current moment. I used to be a PES man, I'm a FIFA man. no, it's just my personal. I used to love Pro Evo, and now I love FIFA. If I was invited, I would be given a fair assessment of someone who used to love Pro Evo and wants to come good again. So I'd be looking at it and I'd be judging it based on that. If they then said, no, we're just going to get all the Pro Evo fans to come and look at it, then you're far more likely to get a positive, even though there might not be completely a positive thing.
I think that's where having the institution teach you to be fair, objective, balanced, and that kind of thing, and kind of instill those qualities and rules in you is what separates us from the YouTube gamers. I'm not saying that YouTube gamers are liars and they're going to do that, because a lot of them do put a lot of effort into trying to be balanced and that kind of thing, but there's not enough like checks and balances put into and punishments on their side put in place, so that when someone tries to abuse the system, it's there's stuff to keep it from happening or punish it from happening. There's nothing to do that.
I think the numbers on stuff prove that people don't give a shit. Yeah. Like there was a report that came out yesterday, like PewDiePie has the most watched videos on YouTube. Like, he's bigger than Miley Cyrus. Like, people don't care. Like, people just watch it for the personality, quite clearly. Like, I mean, whether or not they're out of their fucking minds, that's fair enough. But it proves that people don't care about balance. People don't, regular people don't care about what journalists have got to say anymore, man. It's all about these people.
It's totally true, which is why you see so many places.
But because they think that they're getting a completely unbiased and stuff view, which then, to bring it back to the story, this is why it's strange, because then people are like, okay, well, is this actually happening? And does this make them then... Are people then going to realize, okay, well, no, these are just as fallible as these journalists who have apparently been paid off as well?
Because what was the thing recently that PewDiePie did for the game that the Dead Island people are making now?
The Dead Island.
Was that during the Spike thing?
It was during Spike VGA Awards. They showed it for Techland's new game. The parkour zombie game. I forgot what it's called now. But he was like... That video was just strange because it was just a bad video, but also it was PewDiePie doing what he does best, which is play a game and then for no reason whatsoever just scream at the top of his voice. Like, for absolutely no reason. Like, he's been playing games with zombies in it for years. Like, when a zombie appears on the screen, you don't need to shout. You've seen that thing in about 20 other games. And when it walks towards you, that's not a new thing. It's been doing that as well for ages.
That's his thing, though. That's what people want to see.
Yeah, that is his thing. It's just weird. Like, let's talk from a PewDiePie thing. It's like, it's so weird. Why would he does this in every video, every single video?
That's what people want to see.
It's like, I want to see PewDiePie. Just have.
Do you think we're just becoming old men? We're becoming.
Oh no, there's some.
I don't think so, because I'd like to think that even though my job is making videos and stuff, I recognize that he's providing. People absolutely love it. In the same way, like, I hate it when people our age and stuff are like, oh, I fucking hate One Direction. Why do you hate One Direction? It's not for you. Like, it's for somebody else. Do you know what I mean? And I just think there's no point hating it.
I just mean more on the point of the fact that we watch PewDiePie and maybe we just sit and go, I don't understand. It's just we recognise that it's popular, but we're maybe like becoming grumpy old men, and we understand that some people get it, but we just don't get it.
It's just, for me, it's just his brand of content. It's just weird. Like, there's no substance to it for me. If I watch stuff like stuff on Rooster Teeth and stuff like that, they do similar stuff now and then, but there's a lot of like actual playing a game and using how the personalities change that experience and that kind of thing, where they have these distinct people and they behave certain ways, and that affects the way they play a game. Like, one guy might be prone to trying to sabotage a game of Minecraft or something like that. It's more about that, whereas PewDiePie seems to be 100% like shout. be scared constantly.
It just comes out personal. It's just personal
like,
taste. I mean, personally for me, if I'm watching someone on YouTube, I prefer them to be as normal as possible.
Yeah.
I don't like someone who wants to. Although obviously half the point of it is that people are tuning in to see them as much as the games. I prefer the game to be the focus rather than every time there's a cutscene, someone going, "No, fuck off." Every time, like,
oh my god, a zombie!
I'd rather just.
It'd be interesting to see it from somebody's point of view, because I do watch quite a lot of YouTubers and stuff, and I watch people who are just amazing at games, like just really, really good. That's why I like watching. It's like watching someone, and like pro gamers and stuff like that, especially like pro Call of Duty players. I really go into it. Like we went to the Call of. I'm not a huge Call of Duty fan at all. I barely play it, but I really like watching like the big tournaments and stuff like that, because like some of the guys who are playing, like, I just recognize that they're operating on a level so far above me that it's interesting to watch, and it's like, it's good to watch those big tournaments, and some of them are genuinely like amazing personalities as well, and like you speak to some of them, they might only be like 18, 19, but some of them are just ridiculously switched on and completely understand it. It'd be interesting to see it like from their point of view sort of thing, like when they hear stories about stuff like this, for the kind of people who don't seem to be doing, you know, weird stuff with people. It'd be interesting to see like what they think about stuff like this.
It's just interesting that this is like one of the only mediums where you can actually do something like that. You couldn't imagine watching a YouTube video as someone watching a movie and just screaming as they watch it, or someone listening to music and going, "Ah, I love this bit." Like,
but I mean, it's different though, because
because it's a two-way medium, because you're interacting with it.
But it's like, I mean, I think this. I was talking to somebody the other day who is not into games, and I think I was just talking about Yogscast, just like in general, just talking about them, and I was like, you know, Yogscast, and she's like, I don't know what that is. And I was like, well, it's, you know, if every time you go on YouTube, like, this is on the front page of YouTube. She was like, it's not on my YouTube. Like, you go on the front page of my YouTube, and it's this, this, and this. Like, I think we're completely skewed in the fact that, you know, I watch a lot of gaming videos. Yogscast is constantly there. KSI is constantly there. I might not watch KSI's content, definitely, but it's there. Do you know what I mean? So that it's constantly in our minds. Whereas when you talk to other people, like I was talking to somebody, and like, she happens to be really into sort of like vlogging about beauty and stuff like that, and all her stuff. Like, they've gone through a similar thing where now anyone who's sent like makeup products, that's a huge thing online as well. Anyone who sent like makeup products, down the bottom is like, this is paid for. They've sent me this, but I don't only do things about videos that I actually like and stuff. And they've already gone through that sort of switch now. It's just sort of, it's interesting. I think we think, you know, oh, this is only happening in games, when actually it's happening everywhere. In, you know, stuff like, you know, cooking channels, like makeup channels, like you know, going out and like adventure channels and stuff like that, like holidaying and stuff.
Porn.
It happens everywhere. Like, we're involved in a very, very small part, and I think sometimes we think that we are the world.
Yeah.
Well, we are. We're pretty awesome.
We are pretty good.
What else is happening?
All right. So the other big thing that's happening is Nintendo has posted its annual hardware sales report, and it's a big loss. Wii U sales forecast slashed from 9 million to 2.8 million.
I reckon they should just go, how many Wii U's at the beginning? How many Wii U's do you think they'll sell? 10. We're going to sell 10. And then the story is, fucking smashed it.
2.8 million. So Nintendo has warned it expects to post a net loss of 25 billion yen. That's 147 million pounds.
Who cares?
For the financial year.
I saw people losing their shit about this on Twitter, and I just think, why do you care? Like, the same people who were going crazy about like Animal Crossing, like last year, like, you know, loved Bravely Default, loved Heroes of Ruin, loved Super Mario 3D World, and like, you know, singing the praise of the games. And then there's like, oh, this is devastating. Who gives a shit? They're always going to be making games. Carry on doing it. Enjoy the game.
Well, the problem is, are they always going to be making
thing.
games? Like, if it continues like this, a lot of the fears that people don't understand that Nintendo's sitting on an incredible amount of money. Like, they could go through another cycle without doing anything.
Well, I figured it out that Nintendo, the last time Nintendo said how much money they had, it was like £4 billion worth of money just sitting there. And that's before you even start counting how much their assets are worth. And that's just money, not like value. And so they can afford, this is like one of the biggest losses ever. They can afford to do this exact same loss again for the next 40 years before they run out of money. And that's when they then start saying, okay, what are our assets worth? The problem is in terms of shares, how much their share value is worth. That's the concern.
A lot of people's initial perceptions are, oh my god, if they don't turn this around, they're done, as in they're closed, which is not true. Bullshit. But there's also a worry that they could the quality of what they do could be impacted by, you know, kind of the desperate situations that they're in now. I mean, if you see them start going into mobile and start farming out games like Mario and stuff like that more.
But part of the reaction that I saw on Twitter was people going, man, Nintendo need to start making games for the consoles. Nintendo need to start making games for iPad.
Ridiculous.
Like, that's just a fundamental like misunderstanding of the actual company. Like, and I think it was like Mike Bithell tweeted an amazing tweet, which was like, woke up this morning and apparently Nintendo in trouble. But from all the tweets I'm seeing, if they just take some of these Twitter advice, they'll be fine. Because it was just like everyone has their own idea how to run things. Just like little keyboard cowboys sitting there going, I could run Nintendo. This is what we do. You don't think like the Nintendo staff have considered, like people are saying, oh, they should bring the games to mobile, as if that's never been a consideration of Nintendo when they've gone, shall we put our games to mobile? They're not stupid. It's not hard to get your game on like the on iPad. Do you know what I mean? Like, if they wanted to do it, they would do it.
The thing is, at the same time, like obviously I agree with that 100%, but at the same time, there's a lot of like East versus West meets West kind of like clashes that can happen. Like we've heard stories in the past of Japanese companies absolutely shitting the bed with, like, Sega's notorious for this. Like Sega's team, like the American part of the team pitched, I was reading about this the other day, but the American part of the team pitched an idea which was essentially the Nintendo 64 to Sega, but Sega wasn't having any of it because they're working on Saturn, and that led to like so much confusion. But sometimes the Japanese arm doesn't want to kind of break away from tradition and do what they want. So maybe they haven't considered doing something like mobile, but I don't think that's that's going to be what saves them. No. The problem with Nintendo is they think so far ahead. Like they're not willing to just copy the PS4 and Xbox One and then be settled with it, because they want to see where we are right now, like where we're headed, where we're going. They want to be the ones to dictate that, which is what causes these kind of like peaks and troughs in performance and shares and that kind of thing. And that's what makes them one of the most exciting companies right now.
But that's the thing. Like I remember like the same people who like at the end of last year were saying, my console of the year is a 3DS, as if like they were making like a big statement. And it was like, well, it's the one that had the most games out, so it's going to be your console of the year. And it's like, but they're the same people then who, you know, were just like, oh my god, 3DS, haha, lol, is the end of Nintendo. And now, like, look how Nintendo turned that around.
It's people who want to make the popular statement. The popular statement is, oh, Nintendo should die now, haha, because what really annoys me is the kiddie game thing, and people saying Nintendo aren't making games for me anymore. It's like Nintendo are making the same fucking games they've been making for 30 years. The problem is you fucking changed. Like Nintendo didn't change. Mario games were fine when you were 10 and now you're 30. You can't all of a sudden say Nintendo isn't making games for me anymore. Accept the fact that sometimes we like to play games that are designed for all ages. It's fucking ridiculous. The fact that people say the problem, what Nintendo got wrong with Wii U is they didn't make it as powerful as the other systems. They didn't make it cheap right away. They didn't launch with really like popular games. They've already released a console in the past that was the most powerful console, that was the cheapest console, and that had the Smash Brothers in its first year, and that was the GameCube, and it died in its fucking arse. So those aren't just you can't just solve a problem by making it powerful and making it cheap, because it. I mean, they already.
I saw today like a lot of places like slashing the Wii U price.
Yeah, it's gone down to $179.99, which I would buy it. Like if you haven't got a Wii, if you bought the Wii U now and bought the current selection of games, that is, from my perspective, enough to satisfy me for the lifetime. If that was it, I would be happy.
Pikmin 3, Wonderful
101.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with Nintendo carving this niche where gamers choose either a PS4 or an Xbox One as their main console, even though, and also having a Wii U as their Nintendo console, with the console that gets all these amazing first-party games that you can't get anywhere else.
I mean, the future looks good for Nintendo as well. Like they got Smash. Smash looks awesome. That's coming on 3DS. Mario Kart 8, Bayonetta 2, X, the Monolith,
whatever the Zelda game ends up
the
being.
Zelda Musou game, and then whatever the next proper Zelda is. I mean, that's six good games coming out,
and they just keep coming out with gems. Like that NES remix is amazing. It's like totally out of
you
nowhere.
reviewed that, didn't you?
Yeah, I reviewed that, went up on the side. It's just fucking out of nowhere. The Nintendo Direct. Oh, by the way, here's a new game, which is fucking amazing. All right, cheers.
I think it's a lot of people it's a lot of it is fueled by obviously wanting to have this fanboy war, and I don't understand the fascination with wanting to see Nintendo burn. And it's you always see it's the same people doing it as well. Like, why do you want to see? I feel like they don't like the fact that they've survived and been going for as long as they have. They want to see this relic of gaming just die.
That's what I just don't
why?
understand. That's
Why
why
do
I've
you
seen
wanna
like
do
people going crazy about the sales figure and stuff like that. I don't care. Just play the games. Like, why do you care if they lost? If you bought the game, you bought the game.
It's the fact that for some reason throughout the whole Wii era, all these gamers started saying Nintendo have turned their back on us purely because there was Wii Sports, there was Wii Fit, and there was Wii and stuff like that, and Wii Music, and they somehow decided that those 4 games somehow constituted Nintendo turning their back on them and not giving games that the fans wanted anymore. Whereas also on the Wii, you had a Smash Brothers, you had 2 Zeldas, you had 2 Mario Galaxies, you had Punch Out, you had a Mario Kart, you had a Fire Emblem, you had all these games that were for the Nintendo fans, but people turn a blind eye to those because that doesn't suit. It's being negative is what is most important on the internet.
It's just no matter how far we come, I feel like gamers are always going to be quite precious and closed about this particular kind of hobby or pastime, whatever you want, passion you want to call it. You don't want to see these people who don't take it as seriously coming in and enjoying it as much as you do and respecting it or kind of taking it as seriously as you do. You want to be, no, this is my thing, I'm the only, this is my thing, like I take this seriously, stop kind of trivializing it with your bullshit. And I think people are still kind of butthurt about that, seeing their grandmas do this thing which they've spent years taking shit for doing, and
and that's a bullshit argument. That's a bullshit attitude to have, because it's like 100%. We were saying in the Games of Generation, we were talking about Wii Sports. The amazing thing about that was people at our age, we went our entire life loving this hobby that was constantly put down by the media, and everyone always looks at it as that's a kid's thing, that's fucking stupid. Always making jokes about kids in their bedroom waggling their joysticks. Oh, I get it, they're wanking. But the point is, we all our lives we wanted this to be accepted by our parents and for people to understand what we were doing. And Wii Sports was the game that had your parents who had previously said, I don't fucking understand what you're doing, like getting involved in it, and the thing you're finally getting acceptance for the hobby that you always loved but was always kind of shunned. And you should be embracing that and saying, this is fucking amazing. Everyone's playing games now, and it's not you used to get a giddy thrill when Games Master was on Channel 4 because it was the only fucking time of the week that people actually the games existed. And now they're everywhere. You should be embracing it.
People say they wanted it to be accepted, but secretly we all know all of them were just like, no, we just want to say that we want to be accepted. We're basically
hipsters.
We're the hipsters emos of multimedia, like of entertainment. But I think those are the big things happening this week. That's pretty much it.
We've covered everything. We've covered Kojima Cox, sales from YouTube and stuff. That's a pretty good place to end it.
Just briefly, what else are you guys consuming? I'm interested in seeing what else people are doing.
I'm still trolling through Forza 5. That fucking game, I don't know why it's got a hold of me, because it shouldn't by any rights. It's just it just looks amazing. That it's literally down to the graphics now and my stupid compulsion to finish a game 100%. So it's unbelievable.
Anything other than games that you
other than games? I watched Machete Kills recently.
I saw that movie recently. Have you seen Machete? I've never seen that movie. I watched it recently. It is quite funny. It's ridiculous, which is what I quite liked about it. And I didn't know that Machete is that movie set in the same universe as Spy Kids. Did you know that?
It doesn't affect me in any way.
It just blew my mind.
Well, I think he did them both, didn't he?
Because in the Spy Kids, I've never seen it, but
Rodriguez did them both. And Banderas
they refer to their Uncle Machete. It's just like so crazy.
Right, let's draw this shit to an end.
That's it. Okay. But thanks for listening. Follow us on Twitter at CVG_news. Visit the website at cvg.co.uk or computerandvideogames.com. Subscribe, rate, and review the podcast for God's sake. The other week I went to the top 10. I went to the top 10 of podcasts in worldwide, and we were like number 5. And it was one of the most exciting things for about 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's good.
That was it.
Make sure you keep on.
Keep doing that. So subscribe and review us there, and you can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Tamoor H.
I'm at Cymrogav, CYMROGAV.
And I'm at Scully1888.
Yep, that's a wrap.
Cheers.
Brap.